to Don't Bury the Lead. My name is John Zindel. This is Dom Scarcella with me, my co-host. And we are wrapping up WWE Smackdown live every Friday night. We'll do a rundown of the show. Tonight, the main event was announced before the show, and they built up to it for a couple of weeks here. John Cena, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns from the Bloodline. That was our main event here. Dom, let me throw it to you real quick to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is the much-hyped Tampa show to close the year. I think it was a really cool show, but not for the reasons that may have been most hyped. But, we don't bury the lead here. We got to go top story. And the way this show finished, that's got to be our lead here, but maybe not for reasons that seem obvious. Let's jump into it though. Let's quit, tiptoeing around stuff here. Don't bury the lead, John.
Yes.
What's the big thing coming out of this episode?
We don't ever want to bury the lead, Dom. And it's got to be the main event with John Cena in it, no matter what. It could be three other guys. It's John Cena. He's one of the biggest wrestlers in modern pro wrestling, and he's in a match on TV. So for sure, the lead going into this is the tag match. So the tag match between Kevin Owens, John Cena, Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns. We have kind of a short match. It was a lot of entrances. They start the match around 9:45, really 9:40. They start the entrances up. Mm-hmm. It lasts about 10 minutes, and 5 minutes of it is commercials. So I wish I had more to give you as far as like what I thought about the pacing in the match, some of the technical stuff they were doing, but really kind of a throwaway. John Cena and Kevin Owens go over and they pin Sami Zayn. They both do the fist punch. I don't know what this move is called. When John Cena goes off the ropes and says, "You can't see me," and punches it.
The five-knuckle shuffle. It's like dropping an elbow on a guy, except he's dropping a fist.
Yeah, it's kind of like the people's elbow, but John Cena's version of the people's elbow.
Yes.
So
it's his version of a move that actually isn't that impactful, but they all pretend it is.
it's yes. But
there are a million things that you could do that are better than just like dropping down with your fist.
Yeah, interesting little tidbits I'd pick up from the match here. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens both were busted open, and I have no idea what happened because it all happened during the commercial break.
Seemed unintentionally. Sami got hit real early, and it was just like a shot to the nose. That's the kind of thing that could happen. Mm-hmm. It looks like when they went to the commercial break within the match, that may have been when something happened above Kevin Owens' left eye. But they were very conspicuously not zooming in on Kevin Owens' face for the rest of the match. And even at a distance, you could see there's something wrong with his left eye. But I think WWE, they really try to keep the blood off of especially free TV. I mean, pay-per-views, but like they don't like guys getting busted open on TV. So like they're staying away camera-wise from Kevin Owens. So I would like to know what happened because accidents happen. But it didn't seem to affect how they moved around the ring and wrestled. And to that extent, not a great wrestling match. I mean, guys either a combination of overselling and no selling.
Yeah. We were in the studio together before this, and we both were like, we're both like, usually when we watch the main events, specifically the last couple months, Gunther's on, we're like, this is a good match. Okay, cool. Awesome. We'll be kind of muttering back, grunting back and forth to each other. But this one was just like, what is this? Huh? So not really.
Usually I have a sequence written down, something that impressed me in the match. I have nothing written down. The only note I took for this was KO stuns Sami for pin. Yeah. So like, but let's let's turn on our imaginations here.
Mm.
Clearly, this match in the ring could not have been really what the WWE wanted us to be crazy about. It seems like they want us to be crazy about John Cena looking eye to eye with Roman Reigns across the ring. So, what does this mean going into the new year? This is going to be it almost seems like WWE wants people to start prognosticating a bit here. There's a big word. Guessing about the future, making some predictions, looking into the crystal ball.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have some fun, because we don't usually do fantasy booking on Don't Bury the Lead. We're
Yeah.
analysts. We're not here to be smart marks and rate the show and the wrestlers based on how closely they get to what we predicted. I mean, I don't predict anything for these shows, but let's just do a little fun exercise here, because this match was not good. Why Cena? Why Reigns? Are they going to build to a Cena Reigns confrontation sometime in the new year, perhaps early? The two biggest pay-per-views of the year: January Royal Rumble, early April WrestleMania, or late March, somewhere in there, early spring. Do we think Cena's planning some sort of entrance, appearance, maybe in a match at one of these big two pay-per-views?
Well, I feel like, yeah, there will be a return of Cena to Royal Rumble. Definitely WrestleMania. He'll have some sort of spot.
Okay.
And I think because the match was a little suspect, instead of focusing on how bad the match was, Jim Cornette's really got that cornered. Like, he's got that segment of YouTube cornered. Like, there's no way I could add anything to what he's going to say about the match. So let's avoid just trashing the match. And I think it's an idea. Let's do a little fantasy booking here. You're going to see some payoff, hopefully, with what Roman Reigns thinks of Sami Zayn. And with Sami Zayn finally losing, now it could be like a little pressure against Roman and Sami Zayn. I don't know what the focus is with Cena and Roman Reigns, with Cena coming back into the fold. Maybe it's just like, hey, Cena's back. This is going to pump up the ratings. And hey, reminder, there's a really great long-term story we have building with Sami Zayn and the rest of the bloodline that we'll see start to kind of go back and forth. But if we're thinking fantasy booking here, either way they go with it. If Sami ever breaks away from the bloodline, or if they just keep going because it's too good, I'm happy with it. But maybe just before it gets a bit too stale when you're heading into WrestleMania season, that's when you could have Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns having a match against each other. Maybe it's in WrestleMania, some sort
Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. So you were thinking that?
Yeah, I mean that would probably be the next progression in what's going on with the bloodline, right? But I don't think you need to pull. I don't think you would break apart the bloodline just yet because they're doing too good. But you don't want it to get too stale. Like, you don't want it to be like where it goes like a year from now, they're doing the same exact storyline and they're just still like tempering against, angling the two guys against each other. So at some point, you're going to have Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, rather.
Okay. See, I didn't. I see where you're going. Like, the interesting part of the bloodline so far has been, will they accept Sami or will they not? And to that end, Sami's awkwardness, which comes off as comedy, and it's fantastic. But they kind of settled that at Survivor Series, and then in the SmackDowns right after it. Like, they accept Sami enough, or at least Jay does. Like, Jay and Sami were the flashpoint, with Jimmy trying to control Jay and not have Jay fly off the handle as much. So they accept Sami to that degree. I know they're trying to build the crowd loves Sami so much. Is that going to be a point of contention in the bloodline? That, hey, these guys got belts, and yet everybody's cheering for this comedy almost jobber.
Yes.
Sami Zayn. But But I don't know if Roman and Sammy can have a match one-on-one. I mean, maybe they turn on Sammy, but yeah, that's gonna get really into the weeds and the details. Is if this is going to be a breakup, how do they do that? How do they? And I hope this doesn't become. All right, here we go. Ready for the Wayback Machine? I
Yeah,
hope this doesn't become the NWO, where it was so hot and they went, "Oh my goodness, this is working," and so they kept it going, and then they didn't know how to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't
Yeah.
know how to wrap it up. They didn't know
Mm.
how to really pivot cleanly, and it just became this mishmash of awkwardness with NWA original, NWO Wolfpack, guys jumping back and forth, guys in and out of it. It was just weird.
They
So
even did the red and black,
yeah, the
right?
Wolfpack thing, like and
They
it was it got like,
they
oh, you
eventually
guys really
released.
didn't have an exit strategy here, did you?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the bloodline, that they have a next chapter, and that they're not just caught surprise going, wow, that worked so well. And maybe we'll just play it by ear. Like, no, this is your A storyline. This is one of those things where I'm going to trust the writers, I'm going to trust creative, and I'm going to trust the performers in the ring. But, oh, geez, I hope they have another chapter planned and written and scoped out, and it's not just going to be, well, when it gets stale and people stop cheering, we'll just have the cheesy turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I think it's really good where it's at now, but it's always good to look toward the future. But I think it's fine where it's at right now for the next couple weeks going into Royal Rumble. Yeah. But
Yeah, I don't know if they have to tie up any loose ends before Royal Rumble, unless one of these guys are going to be in the big Royal Rumble main event.
mm,
But they're trying to sow maybe some resentfulness towards Sammy in the blood. Whereas before it was, this guy's not good enough to be in here. Now it's kind of like resenting that the crowd loves him. And so
yeah.
like that could be a turn, but like how do they resolve that? And in all of this, we're not really talking much about Kevin Owens. Like, he seemed to be an important part of of getting into Survivor Series and about Sammy proving himself to the bloodline. And I wonder what this spells for Kevin Owens, because we haven't seen him a lot on SmackDown, but he seems really talented. He seems really over. So I wonder where he goes from here. I mean, does he reunite with Sammy? Who's Roman's big rival going to be here? Because Roman doesn't wrestle a lot. He doesn't wrestle frequently, but there's got to be a match building for Roman Reigns. Is it KO? Is it Cena? Is it someone we're not thinking of yet, who's just going to emerge? But
I
Roman
think,
needs an opponent, right? Roman needs an opponent
I think Roman Reigns is going to lose the title to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
at WrestleMania. So you think Cody's going to be healthy enough at WrestleMania?
Not knowing how healthy he is, but assuming he's healthy.
Okay.
I think the plan all along was Cody comes, he has a great run, and then he wins it, and he wins it at WrestleMania. I think you had mentioned maybe he wins it in SummerSlam from Roman Reigns.
Yeah, just because Cody really has to get back, and maybe he's the surprise entrant to the Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and that's how he gets his match.
He could be the Royal Rumble guy. That's a surprise. Okay, let me think of it like this. Cody Rhodes, if healthy, is coming back during the Royal Rumble and winning it.
Okay, because they need an opponent for Roman. Like, at some point, they need an opponent for the top belt, right?
So here's why I think Roman Reigns will lose at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Rather than SummerSlam.
Okay.
WrestleMania, all the baby faces usually go over, and SummerSlam, all the heels go over.
I did not know that. Okay.
Whenever someone mentioned that, and it ruined it for me, because I'm like, wow, it is like babyface, 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 babyface in WrestleMania. And SummerSlam is heel, heel, heel. Like, so many matches, it was like Lesnar's the heel, Paul Heyman comes out, it's SummerSlam, he wins. And then it goes to WrestleMania, it's Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and he drops the title and loses to either Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins was one. So that's why I think Roman is probably due to drop it at WrestleMania. But ultimately, I think he's doing good with the belt, and I like really long reigns, like, pardon the pun here, but title reigns here.
Let me give you 4 names: Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, Hulk Hogan, Pedro Morales. Do you know what they have in common?
Held the belt for 600 days. What is it? 500 days?
At least 1,000 days. Those are your 1,000-day title reigns. Sammartino actually had 2 separate ones, but those are your 1,000. Yeah, it's got to be at least almost 3 years to get to 1,000 days. Roman Reigns, May 27th, 2023, will be day 1,000 for his reign if he keeps it that long. So, how healthy is he? We went over this in our grading of the champions. We did on Christmas Day. We recorded grading videos, and we talked about how healthy is Roman. Will his body hold up to, carrying the belt much longer and being able to deliver in the ring? So I wonder if he loses the belt at WrestleMania, it's not quite 1,000. If he gets it into some of the late spring and summer pay-per-views, he passes 1,000. If he gets to SummerSlam, he passes, I think, Pedro Morales, and then it's just basically 3. It's just Bruno, Backlund, and Hulk Hogan ahead of him. And Hulk Hogan's the most recent of those. It was 35 years ago.
Okay.
Like, this is not something that's seen a lot. No. So this is and you've brought this up before. This is a very special Roman Reigns title reign. For him to drop the belt, it has to be epic.
Yeah. It's got to be, whoever gets it, it's going to be awesome. And they built it. I mean, he's been a good heel champ, and he hasn't been stale even. I'm like, I like it. So, so in the interest of kind of moving on here,
yes,
I think it's a good idea to transition and say, hey, not a great match.
Speaking of dropping the belt.
Speaking of dropping the belt, I have a lot on this next match I think we can talk about here.
Charlotte Flair beats Ronda Rousey to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. What? Charlotte Flair? Yeah, she came out after the Ronda Rousey Raquel Rodriguez match, which match of the night, I think. When we had 4 matches, I think that was match of the night. And I'm gonna do some mea culpas a little later, but let's just get to don't bury the lead. Charlotte pins Ronda Rousey. Great sequence. It's not a long match because Ronda had just had a long match with Raquel Rodriguez, but Charlotte comes out and challenges. She says she wants to fight it, and I think she said Royal Rumble. And Ronda Rousey's like, well, no, why not today? I don't know which one of them said it, but it winds up being, let's fight right now. And there's Shayna Baszler trying to talk Ronda out of it, and Ronda saying, no, I want to fight her. I want to fight her. I want to fight her. And, real quick and quick and dirty, Charlotte Flair to become the 14-time women's champion, which seems like a lot.
Yes. And maybe
it's the first time I've ever seen her. It's her 14th title win. Granted, I haven't been watching much, but what do you know about Charlotte Flair? And was this a big moment if you know something about Charlotte Flair?
So I would say this. I like Charlotte Flair, but she does get some pushback because she's had so many title runs and they always seem to just pop it on her. And tonight was a great example because she went out there for all of 90 seconds and got a title shot and won a match and got the title. When they've had all these different storylines and pay-per-views, it was just sort of randomly. She came out and she's like, I want a title shot to the heel. And the heel's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I'm like, this is very unheel. Like, I'm going to be so admirable and then let you have the title shot, and it went 90 seconds. But I am okay with it because that division needs some help. The women's division clearly needs some help, and it has the wrong champion. And we were giving, and maybe WWE watched our grade video where we gave Ronda Rousey a D.
They're watching us.
They were watching us, and we were like, dude, this is not good. Like, you need to get the belt off of her. And they did tonight. They were just like, Charlotte, come out. You come out after the match. It makes Ronda look strong. And at the same time, Charlotte has the belt now, and, Ronda can at least look strong. I guess that's really what it is.
John, I'm a man of science. I have no problem incorporating new information, new evidence into my pool of data, and especially if it leads me to alter some conclusions. This is Ronda Rousey's match of her life. Where was this? All the other times we've been watching Ronda Rousey have boring matches where the crowd is dead and she looks like she's lost and she can't do sequences, and people start chanting for wrestlers who don't wrestle in the WWE anymore at pay-per-views. Where was this Ronda? Ronda looked like she belonged tonight in the match against Raquel Rodriguez.
It's really
let's maybe I don't know if you want to get into it, but I definitely want to get into what was different about this and what I really enjoyed from Ronda's effort tonight, because we just got done saying that we like her. We're cheering for her to be a better champion. And for like 20 minutes, she was a much better champion tonight. And then she wasn't the champion anymore. So like we got what we wanted, and then she's not the champion anymore. So like we wanted one of those two things. We wanted them to either get the belt off of her because she's not good, or we wanted her to get better. And like she did both. She got better, suddenly better. This was a great match. And then they got the belt off of her.
It's something, right? It's funny how that works. They get the belt off of her, and if she had been wrestling like this for the past 2 months, I would be like, yeah, cool, keep it on her. She's fine, because this match was good.
Yeah.
And
the Raquel Rodriguez one, like the Charlotte Flair at the end, was kind of a steel match. Whatever,
yeah,
real quick, steal the belt. It was Hulk Hogan. It was at WrestleMania where Yokozuna beat Bret Hart, and then Hulk Hogan just comes marching down and beats Yokozuna, and now Hogan's the champ, and nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah. Oh man, that was a good comparison, actually. Hogan randomly comes down and gets the belt. Yes. So for me, maybe if I could paint the picture here, we saw a match that would go about 25 minutes. I'd say 20 minutes with Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey. Alliteration galore with the R's.
They're all R's.
So Raquel Rodriguez, Ronda Rousey, they went 22 minutes, roughly 20 minutes. And then after that, Charlotte Flair comes down, confronts Ronda Rousey after her victory, and wins in about 90 seconds. So that's the high level of what happened here. Drilling down probably more into the match with Raquel Rodriguez and Ronda Rousey.
Yes.
A lot of the stuff that Ronda was doing tonight was she was actually having moves against her, and maybe it's because Raquel Rodriguez is a lot bigger than the other girls that she typically will wrestle.
Yeah.
But she was taking some bumps, and she was taking great back bumps, and I was like, okay, maybe the what they've been missing the whole time is, Ronda kind of dominates or isn't really getting a lot of offense against her. But this girl was slamming her around, and she was taking great just back bumps, just normal back bumps. And like little things like that, I think probably helped. And you mentioned too, like some of the holds and the transitions that they had, specifically always working the elbow from the very beginning to the very end, just working that elbow. I mean, that's an old trope that always works. Hey, you've injured this elbow. Attack it the whole time. And she did throughout a series of different moves the whole match, which is like little simple things like that. Then you can overlook. So when you wrestle in that style, you can look past some of the imperfect transitions. Because I'm like, okay, I at least have this part of the story in my head throughout the 20 minutes where she's attacking the elbow. And she does it in the very intro, and she does it in the conclusion of the match. The finisher where she puts her move. I forget the name, but she puts her submission hold, Ronda Rousey, onto Raquel Rodriguez. How about you? What did you see from Ronda Rousey and Raquel this match?
I saw Ronda and Raquel working so well together and doing sequences, and not just one wrestler getting in a lot of sequences, but them working off each other, reversals. There was a lot of grappling in this match. This was a really cool wrestling match, pro wrestling match. This was what we thought would be Ronda's strength.
Yes.
Grappling with people. And like you're saying, I'm going to call back to what you said there about Raquel Rodriguez. Maybe what Ronda needed was to be in there in a situation where she wasn't supposed to be just a bully, where she was supposed to have to wear down someone.
Mm-hmm.
She had to put together sequences because she wasn't just going to like one punch knock out Raquel Rodriguez, who's clearly got the height and the weight advantage on her, the build, musculature. I mean, so this is what they needed. Let's get to that finishing move. Did you want to jump in there?
No. I didn't realize Raquel Rodriguez was such a monster. Like she's towering over Ronda Rousey.
And she may be up in the 6 foot range, maybe, which like for a woman that's tall, and she's not like freakishly body tall. Like she's well proportioned, just bigger than everybody else.
Yeah, and I think it was for me, maybe Star Wars, maybe like Raquel Rodriguez, maybe she gets a push because they tried everything with Ronda, and every match, maybe, and not to sound too cornetty here, but the girls are just too small that she's been wrestling. So they couldn't really slam her around like Raquel was tonight. Maybe that was part of it with Shotzi and Liv Morgan. But, and that's kind of the only point I had there. How about take us through the finish there? I love the ending, the finish.
Okay. So Ronda chases Raquel Rodriguez up the top rope, up the turnbuckles there. Ronda climbs onto Raquel's shoulders and tries to get a standing arm hold cinched in on Raquel Rodriguez, who's standing on the middle rope now. So Ronda's like way up in the air. And Raquel, after not being able to fight out of it, decides to just drop backwards and get out of it that way. She does, but Ronda playing the good psychology, which she's done well the whole time. She's got the bad arm cinched in there. So when that move hits and they both hit the canvas, it's Raquel's bad elbow taking the brunt of the impact. And so Raquel taps right away, especially since, Ronda very quickly reapplies the hold.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just becomes, in the end, the bad elbow got to Raquel Rodriguez. She couldn't overcome all of that. But it was a wonderful sequence. It was, move, counter again for the finish. And they did a lot of those. I don't know if you're up for going through some of these sequences and some of these reversals, but I enjoyed the work that these wrestlers were doing with each other. I mean, early on, really the first quick 2 count we got was Raquel Rodriguez missing a clothesline with her good arm because Ronda ducked, but then hitting the clothesline with her bad arm and then going for the cover, but not quite being able to make the cover. Ronda kicks out in 2.
Yeah.
That's a neat little thing. That's Ronda then counters a spin slam attempt. Raquel picks the person up like she's going to do maybe into a body slam and starts spinning them around before slamming them. Ronda counters that into an arm bar. And then Raquel counters that into a clover leaf. And then Ronda counters that with, it slithers through that and counters that into an ankle lock. And it wasn't the kind of thing like, spot fest where guys are just like, I hit my spot. Okay, then you hit your spot, then you hit your spot. It was the kind of thing that made logical sense.
Yeah.
Like Ronda got the arm bar on during the spin slam because that move by Raquel means that she has to hold up her opponent for a long period of time. And if you're just aware enough, like you haven't gotten your bell rung, if you know how to do an arm bar, you latch onto the arm. And then once you're on the ground with an arm bar, if you're the bigger wrestler, you try and roll them up into a pin.
Yeah.
You can't get out of it. Try and make them break the hold with the pin. Well, she kind of rolls up, but then does the cloverleaf. Well, now you've got a cloverleaf on Ronda. Ronda, the smaller wrestler, was able to slither out of it. And then she just flips, and because she's slithering through and she's near the ankle, she goes ankle lock because that's what she does. So it made logical sense that they were countering the way they countered, and I think it was fantastic. There was another great reversal where Ronda held on during an attempted. Raquel Rodriguez does these series of slams where she's the bigger wrestler. She holds the person up with one arm, and it's not really a choke slam, but it's almost that kind of movement. She kind of holds the wrestler up and then kind of drops all the way down. I don't know what you would call it. It's a high impact move. Ronda holds on to it and then turns into both of them spilling over the top ropes. And I'm thinking of, Ricochet and Gunther from their title match a week ago. But 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. But this was fantastic. They spill over the top rope.
When I put this
on the outside, Raquel gets that one arm slam onto the apron, and they go into their second commercial break. A Ronda Rousey match got 2 commercial breaks.
Yeah, right.
Who is this, and what have you done with Ronda Rousey? And then coming out of the second commercial break, I mean, it's not like they slowed up. I thought this was a great final segment to this match, and I've done a lot of the jibber jabber in here. Did you have a favorite sequence or something I said that you wanted to jump in on, or did you have a favorite sequence after the second commercial break and that great long stretch that finished the match?
The one part where they did the topsy-turvy thing over the rope.
Yeah.
With these 2 botch machines, I was like, oh no. Because I saw they were going to try to do it. And all I could think was, oh, somebody's gonna break their neck. Like I was like, don't do this, and they pulled it off. It worked. So I was like, whoa, because when I saw them angling their way toward the ropes, I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna do the topsy turvy thing here.
Neither one of these people is Ricochet, and neither one of them is Gunther.
Yeah, Ricochet know what they're doing. These 2, I've seen Ronda just botch tons, like multiple botches in a match, and then Raquel Rodriguez one time botched the table spot where she didn't go. She like barely hit the table. So that's all I really know about her. So I was like, uh-oh. But they nailed it, and they nailed their big spots in the move, and like the finish and that were the 2 big spots. I just wanted to add that I was so pleasantly surprised with the match because I started to write notes and I was just ready to crap all over it and just say like, this is bad. And then I was like, no, this is good. I'm like, man, I got to like change what I'm going to talk about because this is actually good. But
this is good. Yeah.
That's all I really had to add for this match.
How about the long sequence after that second commercial break? We got a vertical suplex.
Yeah.
We like those. Raquel Rodriguez would come back from commercial and Ronda is straight up in the air, upside down, gets down for was either a vertical suplex or an attempted brainbuster. I can't tell anymore with some of these wrestlers. It looks like they do half of one move and half of the other. But it worked. Raquel does, my goodness, did you see this? And Ronda's got an arm bar on. So Raquel does an incredible fall away slam after countering the arm hold by cradling Ronda and somersaulting through, still with Ronda in this this double pickup, somersaults through, gets to her feet. What an athletic move to do without holding another human being. Like just do that. Like, and to do that while holding another human being and not either one of you like getting hurt. And then gets it into a well-executed fall-away slam. Raquel gets out of a sleeper the way everybody gets out of the sleeper, especially if you're the bigger person and the smaller wrestlers on top of you. Ronda Rousey, feet off the air. She's on Raquel's back, cinching in a sleeper. So Raquel backs into the turnbuckle. Ronda won't let go. She backs in again. Ronda won't let go. So now Raquel Rodriguez just starts moving towards the opposite corner, builds up with some steam, and ducks and basically drives Ronda's head into the top turnbuckle. That's a variation I haven't seen before on how to get out of the sleeper. What a bit of creativity there. Like, I enjoyed that. We got only a little bit of interference from Shayna Baszler, so like you really couldn't say that it was Shayna Baszler costing Raquel the match. Like even though Shayna was there and very animated, they really let Ronda and Raquel have a match. And even the one time where they had Shayna come in and put Ronda's foot under the rope to break up a pinfall. If you look on the zoom in, Ronda's shoulders up anyway. So I don't know if that was a miscommunication there. Like Ronda thought she was supposed to roll out. Maybe because Shayna was so late getting around the corner of the ring on the outside to get the foot that maybe Ronda just knew she had a roll. Like that was a semi botch, but it was a botch of interference. Yeah. So like I don't really count that. It didn't really affect the match.
Listen, it wasn't Flair Steamboat by any means, but
no, but it was cool.
But it was a good match. I mean, there were some hiccups here and there, but they were going for it. They're going for risk, so you're going to have a hiccup. So I wasn't too. I think the good way far outweighs the bad. And
yeah.
think of when they map this match out. I mean, if you're the agent or the booker, if you're the agent, the guy that's mapping it out, you got to be like, let's see if this. Hopefully, this works because these two have. I mean, Ronda specifically has shown that she will just completely tank a match. So this one, she really knocked it out of the park.
They gave this match 3 segments. They had to know something. I mean, did they just have a practice session where suddenly Ronda's hitting moves and everything, and they're rewriting the script and going, you know what? You ladies are getting 3 segments tonight. You're getting longest match of the night.
Yeah, and I think it was considering the main event was just kind of, hey, these guys are here, they're showing up, they're big stars, they're going to do a couple of their big moves, like John Cena's going to come play Freebird. He's Leonard Skinner playing Freebird out there, just doing a couple of the moves, saying, hey, everybody, and then going home. So it was cool that they trusted them both to be the big match of the night, and they delivered.
If we were regrading right now, I would bump Ronda out of D, and I would say, you just lost the belt, but you showed us that you can go in the ring and have a payoff. Yeah. So up when we did the grading video on Christmas Day, we were right. She was disappointing, but if this is Ronda Rousey's future, even without the belt, just being able to do this and deliver great matches in the ring, then I'm pleasantly surprised for where this is going. Hats off to Raquel Rodriguez for a fantastic match. Hats off to Ronda Rousey for stepping up her in-ring performance for this match. And Charlotte Flair, let's see where this goes. She's brand new to me. I haven't seen no Ric Flair, and I know that the story was that Charlotte's getting into wrestling and was a big deal for a while, but I'm willing to take that ride. Great. That's so interesting. Great match of the night. And just really like good vibes ending the year that people who needed to improve improved.
Yeah.
I think that bodes well for the future.
Yeah.
For these individual wrestlers and for the women's division.
For sure. So that's the women's match. That was my match tonight as well.
There's one match left and there's vignettes. What do you think is the bigger deal from what's remaining on this card?
Probably for me, the next thing is the opener, the segment with Bray Wyatt, LA Knight, and Is it Dr. Howdy? Is it?
Is it supposed to be Uncle Howdy,
Uncle
Cousin
Howdy.
Howdy?
This is Dr. Howdy.
We
Uncle
still don't
Howdy.
know who it is. Like eventually Uncle Howdy comes down to ringside after. I mean, Bray comes out, and like we're 5 minutes into SmackDown, he's still staring at his lantern, And I'm writing in my notes, okay, the Moth is here, because I've in my head I've nicknamed Bray Wyatt the Moth because he just seems to be mesmerized by his own lantern. Like he holds his lantern in front of him, and then he just keeps following his own lantern. He's the Moth. So the Moth gets in the ring, and he starts to apologize for going off on a cameraman last week. And LA Knight comes out because he's not buying it. And now they're in the ring, and eventually it gets into, I want a Royal Rumble match with you. And Bray accepts and throws the mic into LA Knight's chest. Yeah, I like that. And they were both doing the one mocking the other.
Yeah, I like Bray mocking the going, yeah, like doing it.
Yeah, and doing it his way. Like he's doing it the Bray way. He's not doing it the LA Knight way.
So for me, I think LA Knight's done a great job, or a pretty good job with this, and it's the only reason I'd be interested. If this was like Dolph Ziggler or somebody else in it, I'd be like, I'm way over the Bray Wyatt thing. Tonight specifically, because we were like set like 5-10 minutes in, and there's just these really long entrances with the music and the whole thing, and I don't know. Maybe somebody likes it, but I don't. But I like the Bray. I mean, like, I'm glad that we are like, okay, I'll rescue you at Royal Rumble. I'm like, finally, okay, Royal Rumble is going to be the time when these two match up. And now Uncle Howdy's going to be one of the storyline aspects that they could build on. So at least they got to a point where we know that there's a match coming, and Uncle Howdy is somehow involved, either against or with Bray Wyatt.
Let's not gloss over that. I mean, we've been thinking that Uncle Howdy is kind of on Bray's side, or for a while it was Uncle Howdy as Bray's alter ego. Then it's okay. Uncle Howdy seems to be a different person, at least, once in a while. We saw Clark Kent and Superman in the same room, and now it's Uncle Howdy gets in the ring, slow entrance, and LA Knight's like, oh yeah, your friend's here. Like, what is this? What is this? And Uncle Howdy stands in between them, and he looks LA Knight up and down. And then he turns and he looks at Bray Wyatt, and he stands shoulder to shoulder with Bray. And then suddenly he reaches over. He grabs Bray across the shoulders from the front here, across the front chest up near the shoulders, drops him down onto the knee like a backbreaker, and then turns him into a variation on a leg sweep, which much later in the program, one of the announcers said that's something called a Sister Abigail, which I had never known what it was. I'm just like, oh, wow, okay. He's, backcracker, single knee backbreaker into a variation on a leg sweep. All right. Huh.
Yeah.
And so now there's this, is Uncle Howdy pleased with Bray? Is he disappointed with Bray? What's going on? Was he ever on Bray's side? So there's some intrigue in this angle now. So it's good for two things. Number one, they've got a match set. I want to see Bray wrestle. And I think LA Knight is a formidable enough in-ring talent for him to have a good match with. Mm-hmm. But we're also getting a little more of this weird stuff maybe getting answered in the 4 Fridays that are going to lead up to this SmackDown. We've got 4 SmackDowns before Royal Rumble. So I'm hoping we get some more about where this story's going with Uncle Howdy and Bray before we get there. So they gave us something that moves some tension in the Bray Wyatt camp, and they gave us a match to look forward to. Interesting way. I mean, if you're going to start off without a match, this was cool because it was something new. They gave us something old, but they gave us then something new with it. So I don't think that's a bad opener.
Yeah. We got to a conclusion. I do want to say one thing about LA Knight. I saw in the crowd a sign when he was coming out. Somebody had an LA Knight sign. It said, yeah. And then when he was doing the yeah, I could hear people in the crowd starting to do it. So I
Yeah.
think he's starting to catch on with the crowd, which is important, especially because he could easily get buried in this Bray Wyatt feud because it's all been about all this wonky stuff with Wyatt. Like it could be anybody that is on this other end of it, but thankfully he's been able to kind of propel himself with getting some of the mic time. He's doing a lot with the time that he has on the mic. I'm interested to hear him when he talks on the mic, and I think he's good at it. So for kind of a wacky, goofy storyline that he's been thrown into, he's doing a lot with it.
And he's doing it in a way that I didn't expect. We've talked about before that I know him from other promotions as Eli Drake. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to come into WWE like a lot of mid-carders that are showing up waiting for their chance, get a lot of time in the ring, and then slowly build some sort of personality outside. It's been completely the opposite. He hasn't gotten a lot of match time.
No.
But he's got a well-rounded character very quickly into his WWE tenure here. And he's done well with it. And it's not the kind of thing that he did previously. He was babyface playing to the crowd in previous iterations I saw in other places. Now he's like transparent jerk, heel. He's talking to Kavorka. He's sparring with the crowd when they do the what or the how. He's like, I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
He knows how to spar with the crowd and not come out on the wrong side of it. So this was something this was not the normal formula of, bring in a guy who's going to be in your mid card. This has been different and unexpected in a way to see from him.
Yeah. I agree.
Let me talk to you.
And the is good. So one other match tonight, I guess we kind of
immediately following this Bray LA Knight Uncle Howdy segment. Yeah, they rolled us into the only other match, and it was one of those, something we've seen before in a sense, right? What was this here?
Solo Sikoa versus Sheamus.
But really faction on faction, because the Usos were out there with Solo, and Ridge Holland and Butch were out there with Sheamus.
And I think it's going to be good and here's what I kind of have for this match in my notes. Sheamus has almost taken on that Ricochet role, where what we had seen a couple months ago, where Sheamus is losing. Like he lost to Gunther and he lost to Solo tonight, but he's putting on good matches, and he's a good. I don't want to call him a jobber, but he's losing, but he's putting on good matches. So
yes,
I think Sheamus has done all he can in the WWE. If he really was feeling it, I think he'd probably leave the WWE and try to go into some other promotion and get another push. But I think he's got a good salary there, and he's just doing the job he has to do.
They seem to have something for him to do, because as this match ends, the Usos distract the ref to get Solo Sikoa out of a cloverleaf, and then a brawl ensues on the outside. And it's in kind of that chaos that once Sheamus and Solo get back into the ring and are on their feet, Solo gets a quick advantage and hits the Samoan spike for the pin, and then this becomes a beatdown on Sheamus post-match. And out comes, for the save, Drew McIntyre, and we're going to see what we were supposed to see coming out of Survivor Series, which was Drew McIntyre and Sheamus teaming against the Usos. Because something must have happened in real life to push that match back. For some reason, Drew was off of TV for a few weeks, right out of Survivor Series. I don't know what happened. I didn't read any dirt sheets or anything, but Drew and Sheamus beat the Usos in the tag match for the advantage at Survivor Series for the War Games match. So, like, they're the last people who beat the Usos. It wasn't with the belts on the line, but they beat the Usos. And so we were supposed to get this match for the belts. And it looks like we're now going to get this match for the belts. and good, because while they try and build up the rest of the tag division, I think it's beneficial for the Usos to be in a program with people who are formidable and who you could see them possibly losing to.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this in previous shows, but they don't have the strongest tag division.
No.
They don't have a lot of depth.
No.
So if you take two guys like Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, and they're not doing a lot, but they've done a lot in the WWE. Sheamus had some success tagging with Cesaro in the past. Drew McIntyre is pretty popular with the fans. Make them a tag team, and now you have like a legit tag team on SmackDown, and I think that's what they're building toward. Which I thought they were
going to get this match. I think they announced it for a future SmackDown, so we're going to get to see this match. I'm interested in it. They are continuing. Solo's the not only the enforcer of the bloodline, but he's kind of a hothead. Like there's one sequence early on where Solo's on the outside and he's hot over something and he's grabbing chairs, and it's Jey Uso of all people being like, calm down, let's not go here, let's get our emotions in check here. Jey Uso, talking some sense into him there. So that it was good to see. But yeah, they're trying to build up Solo. I can see it. The Umaga reflection there, I can see that as well. So that this will be good for, I think, a lot of the guys in this match. And it wasn't a bad match, even though it turns into a Donnybrook at the end and just really just a reason to get Drew McIntyre to come out to save a beatdown. But it wasn't a throwaway match. I liked it. I like this match better than the last match, the main event.
Yeah.
Even though they were both set up to just lead to something else. I mean, I like the fact that this match mattered in the ring was pretty cool.
So I don't know if you see this at all in Solo Sikoa, but he feels like he's very inspired by Samoa Joe. With his he's got the towel, and Samoa Joe had the towel. He's got the short, like the fight shorts kind of on, and Samoa Joe he still actually is performing now. He's in AEW and he's their TNT champ. In AEW. He's still hanging in there. But it looks like he's doing some Samoa Joe stuff, which is, hey, do it.
I like Samoa Joe. Do you like Samoa Joe? Were you impressed with him when you saw him?
Yeah, he was great in WWE. I had never seen him in TNA, but I knew he'd done some stuff in TNA, but he had a great run in WWE.
He has some aerial ability, Samoa Joe does. I don't know if they're gonna let if Solo Sikoa has that in him, and if they would want him to do that anyway. They seem to want him to be more of like this just intimidating fighter who just does the strikes. But if he has that in him, I mean.
So then, two other observations I have here. One is pretty simple. He can handle himself. He's good in there. Because I didn't know much about this guy before. I just knew that he was like related to the Usos, but
little nepotism.
Yeah, that's all it really was. Like he's related to the Usos. That was it. I didn't know anything about him. He's good in there. He's good in the ring. I think he's fine in there. And also I noticed his name is an acronym, Solo Sikoa. So here.
Oh yeah, there's the letters again there. SS. Yeah.
Really, excuse me, alliteration.
Yep.
Another alliteration for a name.
Solo Sikoa. There we go.
Dude, just when you think Vince is gone, we get a very long promo in the beginning of SmackDown, which is something that he's pretty notorious for putting in the template. And the new guys coming up, they're still got the alliteration. So
makes it easier to do the monogram towels.
They got to get an interview with him at some point. They got to do a shoot interview. Like, what's with the alliteration for real? Yeah, that's the only thing. Anything else from this match, Tom?
I liked what I saw. There was some stuff where like Solo does a super kick, but then Sheamus pops up and does the brogue kick, and I'm like, and then Solo pops up, and it's like, okay, so you're no selling each other's moves, And totally the opposite of the main event where guys were overselling. Like you're watching the main event tonight and you're like, is this a 40-minute match?
Yes.
These guys are dead. They're taking one shot and they're down. And it's like, no, it's been a 5-minute match. It's a tag match. So, I mean, some of these guys have gotten minutes of ring time.
Cena, someone pulled him down. They had come to the outside because he was going to do the hot tag.
Roman pulled him down off the apron so he couldn't get a tag. And Cena was
out for like 4 minutes. I was like,
yeah, Sammy does that running Heroku kick or something. I don't know what it's called. It's something that sounds foreign, and he does the kick, and Cena's just out.
And they talked before the match about how he's the greatest wrestler. Michael Cole said the greatest pro wrestler in WWE ever, in his opinion. He gets one big boot from Sami Zayn, and he's down for 4 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's supposed to be Superman here, you know?
Yeah, like, right. What's going on? And it's not like you're worn down. You haven't been in the match yet.
Oh, you know, on this one, I will say one thing I noticed in this match. So
first match or last match? Because we just
main event.
Okay.
So I know I'm remembering a little things about the main event now that we're talking about it. Okay. So there's a hot tag, which is pretty much takes us to the go home. A hot tag to John Cena, which I'm fine with. But when he's doing the hot tag, Cena screams slow to Owens to tell him to slow down. It's like he screams it into the camera. It's like, dude, you don't have to. Owens knows what he's doing. Like, he doesn't need. This isn't his first match, and he's like slow to tell him to slowly do the hot tag. It's like, yeah. But he screams it, and that's one of the things Cena's a little notorious for, is he talks really loud, and they always pick it up.
Oh my god! Okay, so he's trying to call too many spots in the ring.
He's screaming the spot, and I've been guilty of doing that for sure in my previous experience. But it's just when you work with somebody that has no idea what they're doing, and you don't want them to screw it up, you'll say like slow down, like, or if we're real messed up, you start talking to each other, you know. Yeah. But he screamed out to KO. But that's one thing I noticed about it.
Kevin Owens knows how to do a hot tag.
He knows what he's doing, man. He's slow, like he's this is his first match. He's like this green rookie.
Yeah. But and I saw some of, I guess, was Cena that an exciting, jump in here? Because I everybody knows John Cena's name and that he's fantastic from years ago, but I mean the crowd seemed to be really excited to see him, which I guess you are. But when Cena gets into the ring here, I mean, was it was a feel-good moment, but were you expecting much out of Cena when he finally got into the ring? I was like, it could have been anything. Like, wait and see. I mean, he could be awesome. He could be terrible. He could be somewhere in the middle. I mean, what was your expectation of John Cena being in this match? You're still muted?
Sorry. I thought they would give this like a couple more minutes and they would give us something here. I was pretty disappointed with for him coming in, doing the hot tag, doing his big move, then the stunner, then go home. I was just like, man, I really thought they were going to give us somewhat more of a compelling match. Like, this was just, it was like 11 minutes and 5 minutes commercials. You barely saw him. I don't know why you, maybe we could do this toward the end. We did the positivity corner earlier. We didn't want to trash the match too much. Maybe I can just tell you how I really feel, because I didn't want to damper on the whole show because the show was good.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't understand why you would push this match for 2 weeks during NFL games and stuff. So you're telling people to tune in. And then when they tune in, they only physically see John Cena and they see this lousy match. And it's just like, man, like.
Did Cena take a bump in the ring?
No. He didn't take a bump. And I don't
mind. He took a bump on the outside.
But even if they had it for Cena was in there and doing a little bit more, you know.
He did his greatest hits. He did his was it 2 moves of doom tonight?
It wasn't even all the moves of doom. It was 2 moves of doom.
Right. He did the "you can't see me" at Roman standing in the corner, which was cool. So a little heat there. I like that. I like the antagonism, but I didn't see that he looked ready at all physically. So if Cena's coming back for one of the early first half of the year pay-per-views, you didn't really see if he was ready for that tonight. So if they have something planned for him, I hope they've got him on some sort of regimen where he's getting in shape and able to bump for these guys, able to deliver shots, take shots, do sequences that involve taking bumps, popping up. Pro
wrestling. We want to
pro wrestling, like good pro wrestling in the ring. The stuff that Ronda Rousey finally showed us tonight, I hope Cena can do that. I hope John Cena is at least as good as Ronda Rousey was tonight.
It's funny because he is 45 and he did wrestle for like 20 years. So ultimately,
a lot of mileage.
Maybe they're just like, take it easy out there. Go do a little bit, but don't kill yourself, and let Sammy and Kevin Owens do all the bumping. Who clearly did, because they were bleeding all over the place by the end of the night.
One guy the eye, one guy the nose. Yeah,
they must have been killing each other. We didn't see it because it was a commercial break. I didn't see what the hell happened, but
yeah.
So Dom, we'll do the Italian goodbye here. We're only going to do the Irish goodbye on St. Patty's Day. I'm just going to end it, and that'll be that.
You're going to stop the stream before anybody knows we've stopped.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on the show here?
Let's see. We got a couple of vignettes late. One was they're continuing this Mysterio family drama, which I thought they had put an end to that, especially since they looked like they were giving Ray in a program with Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I'm really not interested in them continuing this Dominic Mysterio and Rhea, whatever her last name is, I don't know. Is it alliteration? Is it another thing with an R? I don't know.
Rhea Ripley.
It is an RR. So I'm really not interested in this at all. Like, I don't care. They don't seem to be good wrestlers. It's not an interesting storyline. Ray has other things to do. I'm not interested in that. Then we got a lot of wrestlers in the dressing room mocking Top Dollar for his botched dive, which started out as, okay, they can laugh at themselves, but then it turned into Top Dollar just shoving Ricochet, and now they're going to have a match.
I think it's the best thing they could have done is to at least acknowledge the people, acknowledge the terrible botch of the year, and just build on it and use some of the heat from that, and then have a match off of it. So, hey, not a bad thing. And then this might be do or die for Top Dollar. This might be like, if you can't have a good match with Ricochet, you might be the unemployment line after this.
It'll be tough for Ricochet. He's a much smaller guy than Top Dollar, and it's not like you're wrestling Gunther here. You're wrestling Top Dollar, so I'd be interesting to see what they can do. One more Ricochet note here, and as far as botches go, this was it looked like a bad accident here. I don't know if we're going to get an update on it, but Imperium comes out to talk about how awesome Gunther is, and Gunther is about to speak, which we want to see him do when Braun Strowman comes out and he wants a match, and Gunther's like, no, you're not getting a match tonight. Maybe later. And he's about to walk out, and Braun Strowman starts 1-on-3 beating up all the guys. And, he's eventually doing the Strowman Express on the outside of the ring. But then Gunther kind of gets the advantage. They throw him back in the ring. They're trying to beat him up. And now Gunther cinches in some arm hold where he's got, looks like a very Ronda Rousey-ish. She's getting a lot of mentions tonight, and for good reason. We're not trashy reasons. Like, Gunther's got this arm hold in where he's cinching back his left arm at the elbow, like he's trying to, like, I don't know, bust the elbow or something, or break something. And Strowman's trying to fight through it, and Kaiser and Vinci are keeping the officials from getting into the ring to break it out. And here comes Ricochet with a chair. And he hurdles over either Vinci or Kaiser and then knocks the other one with the chair. Now he gets into the ring and still has the chair. Gunther slides out of the ring, and Ricochet's hot, and he's doing the thing where he just starts swinging the chair around. He swings the chair over the top rope, and Gunther is a little too close to the ring. He caught Gunther flush with the top frame of the chair right on the head. He caught him flush, and you can see Gunther bend over and grab his head as they're trying to just like wind down and go to commercial. And you see other WWE officials who are out anyway come over to check on Gunther, and it looked like they were really concerned. It's in the view of the hard camera, so it's on the other side of the ring, so we don't get a zoom close-up of it. But it looks like Gunther got caught flush, and he wasn't supposed to. You're not supposed to get hit with the chair there.
No.
You're supposed to get hit with the flat part of the chair that has some give to it, and you're supposed to get hit across your back, almost like you're taking a back bump with a chair. You're not supposed to get hit with the frame of the chair, and you're not supposed to get hit on the back of your head.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if there's a blame game here. It may have been that there wasn't enough room on that side of the ring for Gunther to clear, or maybe Ricochet wasn't supposed to be that animated clearing the ring. But like this was, I hope Gunther's okay, because that's not in the script.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay. I imagine Ricochet did not mean it. I mean, and I hope it's nothing really bad.
Well, Dom, I'll tell you what, man. Interesting observation. I missed that one, but I'm sure he's a tough guy. He'll stick it out. But interesting, I kind of missed that. And
there's no muscles on your skull, though.
No, you are correct that the chair is not supposed to be hit anywhere near the head. This isn't Foley in the 90s with The Rock and the I Quit match. That stuff's sick. If you're on YouTube now and you really want to get grossed out, go watch The Rock smack Foley in the head like 7 or 8 times in the I Quit match. That's really nuts. But anyways,
anything that stood out to you here at the end of the show?
I think we touched on everything, and I think ultimately a good show. Not a great main event, which isn't always good for our show because we always don't want to bury the lead and we always talk about the top story. But everything else was pretty good.
It's okay. The lead wasn't the in-ring action tonight. The lead was that you saw John Cena on screen looking at Roman Reigns, and that they're spinning the bloodline story forward with hopefully another chapter. And John Cena, whether or not he can go physically, they didn't spoil it or give us anything about that tonight, but maybe Cena wrestles in 2023 and doesn't wait till the last Friday of the year to do it.
Right. Yeah, we'll have
That's
to see.
our lead. We got to see a star, and we got to see a face-off, and this is supposed to spin us into the new year.
Right. Well, Dom, thanks so much for joining tonight. We've had it's been a lot of fun doing this for the entire year. I'll see you next year, technically.
Yes. Like, subscribe, comment, tell us if you think we're good at any of this stuff. If you found us insightful. If you disagree with us, go ahead. We'll read your comments. We may even incorporate something you've said into a show. I mean, if you bring up a really good point, I'll acknowledge it here. I mean, we're into the interactive nature of doing these live streams. As fun as it is just to talk to you, John, when we get some traction with other folks, that's an extra thing to see.
Yeah.
And it's rolling.
Yeah. So, thanks so much for joining, Dom. Appreciate it. Like as Dom mentioned, go ahead, comment, subscribe. All of that fun stuff is always helpful. We're very small. We're getting a little bit bigger each day. So thank you so much for joining tonight. This is Don't Bury the Lead. Thank you so much for joining the show. Bye.